Here we go, Justin Viale there. As we said earlier, hometown boy. This has been a race I know he's been incredibly excited to take part in.
Such an interesting athlete.
He must be the only athlete we've got who works full-time as well as races as a professional. It's so rare.
Hey JR, making up time to that elite group! Let's go! Let's go, JR! You're in it, bro! You're in it! Happy birthday, dear Lauren. Happy birthday.
Testing, 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 testing.
The level is so crazy. It's such a different level. Oh, we're gonna have to wait. We better at one take anyway.
Yeah,
once they,
I agree.
Once they walk out.
All right, man. Great day. Talk to me a little bit about the overall vibe before we dive into swim bike run.
Yeah, I mean, super stoked. 14th at T100 San Francisco. And man, that was the hardest 14th place I have ever fought for. So super proud of the day. Honestly, just put together a really complete swim, bike, and run race for me. I said before this race, I don't really give a shit where I finish. And you know, being ranked 19th out of 20 going into this race, wasn't expecting too much, but yeah, just finally had a day this year where I put it all together, and it was maybe my best race ever, or really, really close to it. So overall, really stoked, really proud, really happy, and got to enjoy just a great night with friends and family celebrating the race and my wife's birthday. And you know, we're recording this video 9:45 p.m., a few cocktails in, and vibes are high. I love San Francisco.
All right, let's talk about that epic swim, dude. That seems like it was pretty fast, or was it just the way that the currents were bringing you in?
Yeah, I mean, swim was fast. I mean, even before the swim started, it was such an epic scenery. Like, getting on the boat with these athletes. I mean, even before the boat, the bus left at 3:15 in the morning from our hotel. So we're all up so early, chugging coffee, eating our bagels in the lobby, and the tension's kind of high. You know, there's only 20 men, 20 women. So these T100 races, there's cameras everywhere. There's a lot of pressure. There's, you know, it's a vibe unlike anything that I've dealt with, you know, because you're all in the same hotel and you all get on the same bus and you go to transition, and then you're setting up your transition, and then you all get back on the bus and you go over to pier at the Embarcadero to get on the big ferry. And it's really more of a yacht than a ferry. And these chairs are set up in a semicircle, and everyone's kind of, you know, feeling each other out. And I remember from Vegas, like, I was so intimidated. I was so nervous by being around these guys. Martin Van Riel, Alistair Brownlee. I mean, I was looking at, you know, the field and just getting super scared and worked up. And this time around, I was like super chill, super relaxed. I was like, oh, I've been here, done that. Like, they're just triathletes. And so, yeah, I just had fun, honestly. Yeah, it was just a cool vibe. And so we're sitting there in this semicircle, and I remember my coach said, hey, just make sure you take a moment and be grateful. So I kind of went out onto the pier, and I looked out at the Bay Bridge and reminded myself, like, this is home, and this is super special, and just be grateful for the opportunity to be here, because not that many pro triathletes in the world get the chance to race T100 San Francisco. And like, you know, for everybody out there that was not able to get that wild card, like, I was thinking about you. And I mean that in a way that, like, I'm not gonna get that many other wild cards to T100 probably, maybe never again. And so it's just like so important that you are grateful for those moments. And then I came back into the boat, And I look over at Martin Van Riel and Vincent Louis and Morgan Pearson, these Olympians, like these legends of the sport that I've looked up to for years. And like Vincent, I remember, was kind of quiet, and he like looks over at Martin, and he's like, "What a life we have, huh?" And I remember just being like, "Yeah, that's so true." And I thought that was just super cool that somebody like in his position that's been doing this for so long, been to a bunch of Olympics, like still appreciates those moments where you're like getting on a yacht to go dive into the water for a living. Like, it was sick. So really special moment. And I could just tell I was in such a good headspace, you know, not nervous and just in a good, just really freaking enjoying the moment and being present and just living life, being like, this is so sick. So the gun went off. I decided to dive. It's about a 10-foot platform. Unfortunately, the boat didn't take us all the way out to the island. I was hoping the swim would be longer, but for some reason, they decided to bring the boat, you know, closer to shore, which made the swim a lot easier and a little bit faster. It was definitely still 2K, but instead of crossing the current, like the traditional kind of fabled Escape from Alcatraz swim where you have to go all the way across the bay, the ferry was a little closer to shore, about halfway between the shore and Alcatraz. So the swim was fast. It wasn't that hard. Dove in. My goggles flew off, so I had to take a second to put them back on. But yeah, found feet, got the front group, and the rest was honestly pretty uneventful. I felt super strong in the water. It was not that hard. I was never on the limit, and I was comfortably in the front pack. I think almost everybody in the race was basically out of the water in like 30 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, pretty uneventful, but a little bit physical, but not too physical, and not that hard.
What's your race recap for T1?
Well, Greg Harper bet me a burrito that I would have the slowest T1 in the field, and I did not. Thank you very much. I busted my ass and ran as hard as I could, barefoot, for the 1K run to the bikes, and I think I did fine. I mean, definitely some guys ran by me, but like, I was still in contact, I was still in contention, and I was running, you know, just as fast as most of the guys. So that was good, because I was definitely worried I would just like get dropped and lose a shit ton of time there. But had a super smooth transition, got on my bike and got to work. So the bike started, and you know, I think maybe my one regret of the race, which is always easier said than done, is not having gone out a little bit harder on the bike. But that comes with experience and this ITU background and having raced more T100 races. But I basically lost contact with the front of the race immediately. And a couple of guys like Aaron Royal and Yuri were able to bridge up to the front, and they went for it. And I didn't. For some reason, I just was like, oh, I'm like in a comfortable place. I'm just gonna ride my steady, you know, 7, 8 out of 10 effort. And like, I think it was a little scarred from burning matches in St. George, trying to, bridging up to Magnus and going with him and then having just like a miserable rest of the day. But my legs were just way better today than they've been, even at Oceanside or St. George. And I probably could have done it. I don't know how it would have played out the rest of the ride or on the run. We'll never know. Could I have bridged up to the front of the race in the first lap? Yeah, absolutely. And I decided not to. Because I was like, I don't want to walk today. Like, I want to put together a good race. I wasn't in the race to go win. I wasn't in the race to go top 5. I wanted just like a complete swim, bike, run race that I could be proud of. And I decided not to go to the front. And I still rode hard, don't get me wrong. But I was able to get separation and form a little group with me and Nico Mann, basically, just the two of us. And then we rode together, I think, for 2 laps. And then I made a move and attacked up one of the climbs and dropped him. And ended up basically solo the rest of the ride by myself. There's a big gap to the front group of 7 or 8 guys, and then a pretty big gap to the guys behind me that were kind of just straggling behind. So not a super eventful ride, but I was just having a blast, and I had great legs. Unfortunately, I left my Garmin head unit in the hotel room in the morning, so I had no power because I connected my watch, but then I double-clicked the lap button and it went to T2. And so it didn't record any power, but fortunately I was able to get with Martin and Yella and Aaron Royal after the race and compare power numbers. And it was definitely my best power ever. It was like, I think 335 average, 330 to 335 and 350 normalized, maybe 360 normalized. So big watts, Rico Bogan normalized 392 watts, So it was a serious day out there on the bike. Last year at this race, the power numbers were super high, and because of all the super steep, punchy climbs, everybody's numbers are big. But yeah, proud to have great legs on a day where it counts, where you can really put time into guys. And so I pretty much stayed in contact with the front group, riding solo all day and descended hard and got off the bike feeling pretty good. All right, our video is being interrupted by a bunch of young girls doing a TikTok video in the hotel hallway.
They should have banned it.
Oh my God. What are they doing, a TikTok?
The downside of filming in a hotel.
All right, well, since we're doing a break, this video is brought to you by Free Pouch. Lush, 12 milligram watermelon. Perfect evening treat for 10 p.m. on a Saturday night after a great race.
All right, let's talk about the run finally. One of the best run forms I've personally seen you in. So what were your thoughts on your run performance today?
Yeah, so the run was good. I mean, I'm pretty satisfied with it. I ran 5:56 per mile pace average today. I don't know what my time was, like 1:07, but I don't know T100 run splits. You know, but I was like 7 minutes off the leaders, and I think it's like an 11-ish mile run or a little bit more than 11 miles, and I was on 1:17 half marathon pace. So 1:17 is my best half marathon off the bike ever, and I rode higher power than I've ever ridden, and I swam at the front pack. So how could I possibly be disappointed? I mean, I didn't blow up, I didn't fade, and I was able to run the last quarter mile at 5 minutes and 26 seconds per mile to hold off Mark Dubrick by like 5 seconds.
That was epic. That was absolutely epic.
The run was just, I mean, it was also a dirt path run with wind, so it was fast and flat, but not crazy fast. And you know, my first 5K was not that pretty. It was like 5:55, 5:55, 5:55, and then I just ran that the whole race. So didn't fade, didn't blow up, didn't speed up, didn't slow down. The effort got really hard. I had to absolutely bury myself the last lap to hold off Mark and Antonio Benito Lopez, who were both charging me down. But oh, what a way to finish the race, because having those battles and knowing people are hunting me down. I mean, I've gotten past in the chute too many damn times. And I was thinking that today on the last lap. I'm like, you've worked too hard and had too good of a day to let somebody like nip you at the finish line without absolutely burying yourself. And I buried myself. I mean, I crossed the finish line and it was not pretty. My legs were cramping in every muscle in my body, and I almost threw up and collapsed. And like, I haven't had that kind of sensation since fall 2023 in Cozumel, where I truly crossed the line with everything I had. And yeah, it was good to experience that again and be able to go dark and go deep and just bury myself without having my body give in before the finish line.
For the people that aren't super familiar with the T100 circuit, how would you say this performance would have translated into either a Pro Series race or a non-Pro Series race?
It's really hard to compare because the level on the bike is so high. I mean, I've never experienced how high of a level the bike was today. I mean, it was truly insane. Like I said, I mean, I rode higher power than Oceanside, where I was solo off the front, and here I'm like 8th. So if you want to compete at a T100 race, you got to learn to ride a bike, and you need to be descending with the skills of a pro cyclist, and you have to be, ideally on a course like this, a little bit lighter than me and still pushing 400 watts up all the climbs. Or Rico Bogan, 392 watts will do it. So yeah, how would it translate to a Pro Series race? I mean, look, like these guys win Ironmans. Like a lot of these guys, 70.3s, they're all champs. Like Nico Mann, Mika Newt, like guys I was dropping have won races. Antonio Benito Lopez, Mark Dubrick, these guys are 70.3 champions. Like the guy's getting 15th, 16th, 17th, you know? So it's humbling, and it's just an honor to be in this field, honestly. Like, it's sick, and like just to like, you know, be friendly with some of these guys and get to know them after a couple of wild card starts. Like, they're all super nice and like super welcoming, and they're all like, how was your race? And like, they're like genuinely happy for me. Like, I'm proud of getting 14th, you know? And like, everyone's on their different level. Like, I'm not here to win. Like, they know that. And I'm just here to have a good time. And I think it's refreshing because some of these wild cards, like they'll come into these T100 races and they'll be like, so disappointed with my day, I got 12th. It's like, dude, like, don't kid yourself. Like, beating these guys is so hard. And there are a few athletes in the field that could do it, or in the world that could do it. But we'll see at 70.3 Worlds. That's all I'm going to say, because I think 3 of the top 5 today are going to be 3 of the top 5 at 70.3 Worlds, probably. And maybe with the exception of like a Leo Berger or other contracted athletes that decided not to show up. And maybe Lionel, maybe Sam. I hope those guys, those guys are like my American heroes, North American heroes. But I don't see how it's possible based on the experience I have racing with the other athletes in North America 70.3 domestic circuit. I hate to say that because I'm an American and I love saying how competitive Oceanside and St. George and all these other races are, but like this was humbling. This was a different level.
All right, so what's next?
70.3 Boise, end of July. Really what's next is a really nice, steady and solid training block. I haven't done one since before Oceanside. I've raced 4 times already this year in a period of about 8 weeks. So looking forward to just putting my head down, getting some run mileage under my belt, because just 2 great weeks of run training translated really well to the strength endurance today on the run. Still not quite where I want to be on the run, but chipping away and just making steady progress. That's all you can ask for. So yeah, I just want to make better run progress over the next coming weeks without turning the screws or taking too much risk. And then we will see you in Boise, and then second half of the year we'll kick off with Boise, Louisville, and Santa Cruz. Just a huge thank you to everyone who was out there today. I definitely felt the Bay Area love. It was pretty awesome. I heard a bunch of people yelling like, make the Bay Area proud or represent California, and that was awesome. My roots are in San Francisco, and like it meant so much to me to be racing in my home city. So yeah, thank you to Golden Gate Triathlon Club, who was just ripping for me out there today, and the Olympic Club, and my friends and family that were out there. Thank you to you, Kyle, for making the trip as always. My coach, Lauren Goss, for getting me ready and just executing a perfect build and a perfect taper. I was firing on 100% all cylinders today. And just a huge thank you to my sponsors for making this happen this year. It's just awesome to be able to represent all of my sponsors on the big stage at T100 with that unexpected wild card and perform to the best of my abilities. Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning into the YouTube channel. As always, leave us a comment for any videos you want to see over the next 8 weeks. We're just going to be hanging out in Vegas and doing some head down training, so get a chance to do a little more maybe day in the life type stuff. So let us know what you want to see, and we will see you soon with some training videos.